lined each of them up here, so I've got all the different parts I'm going to use to scratch in. I'm just going to render that as one long file, and then that's when I'm going to take it onto the laptop now, and then get on and cut it up and hopefully get some good little intro tune out of it. I did have them all lined up, and I took them in to the laptop, and I was having to play about with them to scratch it, to try and scratch the title in, but I wanted quite like a drone, like a type drone to it. So I don't just want to just make record sounds to make it into a scratch, when it's not necessarily what I wanted, is just like a drone, you know. Because if I just drone it and then start pushing the record, and it's not the exact sound I want. So anyway, I decided not to scratch that part of the intro, and I've just, because it's only a very short segment, so instead I've played in and lined up the samples, and then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to overlay a piece of like a bit of screaming or something, like from some of the samples I've been cutting up recently. So I'm going to put that over it and sort of fade it out and do things like that over it. So at the minute I've got this all lined up here. So they're the different individual layers I've got so far. So I've got a Ghost Sweep, a bassy synth, that's like a high sort of din 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 sort of synth there, and then I can't remember what that is, so I should really write it in. Another sort of bassy line, slightly different. I've called it bottle top, but I can't remember what that sound is. It's just like something with a lot of delay on that. And then another couple of things there. Oh, they're like the sort of boom hits, the impact hits to sort of set it off, which are always good to have. Give a nice bit of presence and sort of impact. And then above it, I've got the different sound effects I was recording before, with the the blood and the sort of cracked bones and the swiping of the swords. And there's another sword layer on there which has delays and echoes on and stuff. So just to sort of emphasise it a bit more, so there's like a double layer of that on. So this is what it is at the minute. And then, I heard a little bit of that, and then I'll put this other layer on, which I'm going to do now, which is like this sort of screamy layer. So this is what it sounds like without the scratches on. And now I'll put a little layer of scratching in just before the slashes come in, so just like a sort of scratched delay part sort of thing. You know, I guess most people have tried that. Most people do it in the scratches at some time. So yeah, I'm going to do that now. So on this, I want to try and I've identified which are the samples I'm going to use. So I'll put a bit of effects on just to try and get a feel for what it's going to be like on the actual recording, but I'll take that off and just sort of I'll do it dry, and then in the computer I'll add on the delay there, so it's in like that. Because if you put it in like this, then it's just, you can't really change it once it's in. So I'll just put it in dry and then I'll change it on the computer. I tried, there's just like a little, like a crab on the start of the scream, and that seems to have worked really well on the piece of music. So I did like more scratches than that, like 2 or 3 different ones, say like a pattern like something like that, but it just sounded better. I like chopped it up into like 3 sections to see what it sounded like on the computer. Just on here is the bit I've crabbed, I did have like all that section of scratches. It's like in 5 different pieces, so had all that, but it just sounded a bit much. But leaving it as just the crab at the start, I did split it up and have the like delay squiggle bit or whatever you call it, I don't know, having that a bit later on. But even then I thought, no, maybe it's not, just have the crab a bit at the start, and it sets it off well. So take the click off. Sounds much better. It doesn't like hog all of the different layers and things. So yeah, so I've just left it like that, and I think that's pretty much it. I've put a bit of reverb and echo on just so it sort of blends in more to the space of the other layers, and that works really well. So it helps sort of fill the other spaces with a delay on, so you can rather than having to put instruments in or something to fill the spaces, the delay can sometimes do that if you just put it like you know, not too wet into the mix. It just helps fill little bits of spaces and things like that of the rest of the layers. So I think that's pretty much it there. I'll have another faff on with it to try and just get the levels right and make sure the levels are right, and yeah, I think I'll just put that over the video and get it rendered, and then I'll just render it down into the main intro bit, so every time I use it the music's in there. So now I've recorded all that in, I've got the scratches in, I've got the main body of the music in. I thought I was going to have more scratches in, if not do it all scratched, but just how I wanted to have it, like the sound of it, you'd be putting scratches in just for scratch's sake, and you don't want to do that, because it's the finished piece of music that you want to try and get to how I wanted to for it to sound. So I didn't need it in the end. But the little crab on the scream sounds good, and it fits it well, so I'm pleased with that. And then hopefully on the next video I'm going to do something which I've already been doing for a couple of weeks now, maybe. Or before then I edited down lots of different samples to possibly scratch to, and possibly have on digital release, vinyl release, for different phrases. So I've been writing out, and I'll show you. I've been writing out all the different samples, if you can see. All the different samples, I've got a rating for them, what they like to scratch to, and the time of them, so I can just go through and hone them down and try and get some really good scratch samples on the go. So next time, on the next one, I'll go through and take you through some of those. So I'll do some scratches over some beats just to see what they like to scratch to, and some of the are being really good. There's a few that are pretty crap, but you don't know until you do this practicing and holding it down and changing the levels and things like that. So yeah, see you next time.